Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Knitting Around LA. I'm Julie.
And I'm Judy. And today, we, Knitting Around LA, would love to welcome our guest, Marsha Shaw. Welcome, Marsha.
Thank you.
Like I just said moments ago, I am so stinking excited to meet you because you seem to be a woman after my own artistic heart. So I can't wait for you to tell all of us about your art journey.
Okay.
I want to know everything about you, all of it.
Well, let's start with background because Marsha, didn't you grow up in the San Fernando Valley?
I did. I grew up in Tarzana. Yeah, I had horses, wow, all the Tarzana stuff.
Wow.
It was fun. I remember when there was a dairy farm on Corbin Avenue.
Oh. Yeah. So now, and what was your education? Did you study art from the get-go?
No. I out of high school, I went to Pierce College. I took
Good old Pierce, yes.
Yeah, good old Pierce. And although I took art classes, I took some art classes. I never really felt, excuse me, my cat. I never really felt that I was an artist, and it was never encouraged by my teachers. And so I ended up going to Cal Poly in 1973, and I was an ag business management major.
Oh, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did that. But in my senior year, I couldn't do it anymore. I was just not interested in agriculture, and the attitudes of the kids was very conservative. And I came from not a conservative area, so it was really hard for me. I never made friends with people. And so anyways, and then I met my husband and got married and had kids and yada, 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 and all that stuff.
And you stayed in San Luis.
Yeah, because my husband had his business there. So, but then around the time I had a job as a special events coordinator for Gottschalk's. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a small department store chain.
Oh, Gottschalk's, yeah.
Gottschalk. So I was a special events coordinator for them, and I did all their fashion shows and that kind of thing.
Mm.
And they kind of downsized, so I was middle management, and so my job was eliminated, and I was back on the floor again. So I was just working part-time, and I happened to go into a pizza store to pick up pizza for my family, and there was a watercolor up on the wall, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's really beautiful. And the woman behind the desk or behind the counter said, oh, thank you, that's mine. And I said, really, do you teach? And she said, yes. And I went, she goes, you should sign up.
Good.
Sign up for my class. I have two more seats. And so I did. And so that was when I was 40. And so for the next 10 years, I basically took, multiple classes, two a semester at Cuesta College. And just before my 50th birthday, I asked one of my professors, what should I take next? And she said, you've got to get out of here because you're too good to stay in a community college.
And was this in the 80s, Marsha?
So this was in the 90s.
Okay.
And then right around the same time she told me that, my mom gifted my sister, brother, and I $10,000.
Oh.
So my husband didn't want to travel. So it was a lot of money. And I called my sister and I said, what can I do? What should I do? And she said, go back to school. Go to Cal State Northridge and move in with mom. And that's what I did. I applied to Cal State Northridge, and yeah. So that's what started me as far as really being serious about making art. and and I, and I think it was a really good move for me, mainly because I was never really taken seriously by my family. They just thought it was mom's thing, you know.
Oh God.
I know. So they take me serious now, but
I should hope so.
yeah. So yeah. So anyways, then I went to when I went to Cal State Northridge, I had so many units from Cal Poly, and I'd taken all these classes at Cuesta. My advisor said, you know, you only need to be here for one semester, and then you could graduate. And I'm like, no freaking way am I going to do that. And so I did 2 years and got my undergrad. And during that time, I took a lot of women's studies classes. I took a lot of writing classes. I took all kinds of things that I had not been able to take, you know, when I was younger. And so I took summer classes. I was crazy. And it just like, my mind just blew up, really. And my mom passed away shortly after I moved in with her, and I stayed in the house, and I turned her living room, the living room that we were never allowed to go into my studio. So which had hardwood floors, so it was fine. But so anyways, yeah, so I did my undergrad at Cal State Northridge, and then I wasn't ready to go home, quite honestly. I really was enjoying my education, and I felt like I needed more time to work. And so then I applied for a master's program. I got into their MA program. Mm-hmm. And the first semester I did we did together. Remember?
Oh, that's right. It was your first semester. I was just going to say about that time was when we met.
It's because of Judy Chicago.
Yes. Yes.
So we did the Judy Chicago thing. That was so cool.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so I got to work with Judy Chicago one semester, and then there was a big show, and then I took in total 60 units, which is basically the same as an MFA. I did everything that all the MFA students did. So
because you had B was one of your teachers, or was she on your committee, or B Coleman?
Oh, B Coleman was just someone I just loved. Was she on my committee? I don't remember having a committee. Did we have committees if you were just an MA?
I don't know. I got my BA. So, but the way things were at Northridge at that time, getting my BA, I was in the studio classes with the fiber master's students, just because
right, because everything was they had a
population, yeah,
right. They have a small MFA program, so the graduate students were working and taking classes with the undergrads, so which I really liked.
That's a good idea.
I think I really benefited me.
Yeah, it benefited me too. So I did everything they did. And so when I was ready to go to grad school, I had a complete portfolio, and a portfolio of my work. I had written about my work. So I got into all of the grad schools I applied to in California, because I still needed to go back and forth, to my home in San Luis Obispo. Mm-hmm. So, and then I called my sister again. I said, what do I do? She said, go to San Francisco.
Go to San Francisco. I like your sister.
I know. Well, she went to Berkeley, so she knows a little bit about San Francisco. So she was right. It was perfect for me. So the school wasn't perfect for me, but that was a culture shock. Yeah. The school, first of all, yeah. It was a lot.
Remember, I visited you there.
Mm-hmm.
And it, okay, I didn't, so go on. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, it wasn't a perfect fit for me because Cal State Northridge was great because we had grad students and undergrads together, and I didn't feel I I didn't feel bad that I was older than all the other students. You know, I felt like there was a good diversity of age group and that kind of thing. When I went to CCA, it was really young, very I can't think of the word right now. I'm thinking aggressive, but that's not the word. But people, you know, they were very young students who, you know, wanted to make it big. And so I never really thought about being a famous artist or anything like that. I wanted to teach. And that's the one thing you can't say when you apply to grad school. You can't say that you want to teach. You want to talk about all this stuff about your work and stuff like that. So in the first semester I was there, I had a visiting artist come to my studio, and she said, "So why are you going to grad school?" And I said, "Because I want to teach." And she said, "No, you can't say that." And I said, "Well, okay, look at, do I want my art to be better? Of course. Do I want to be exposed to new things? Of course. But I can't teach in a college unless I have an MFA. So, and now that I'm here, you can't kick me out because I'm saying it. I want to teach." I said, "I have a lot to offer people. If nothing else, just the experience of being the age that I was at the time, I have a lot of life experiences that is really helpful to have a student, you know, to be able to mentor a student with." I'm not that young teachers aren't great, but my emphasis was really all about teaching and learning new things, you know. So that's basically what I did. I was so glad to get out of CCA. It was unbelievable.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I was only there for like an hour, and it just seemed so cool.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything really bad about CCA when I was going there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their undergrad program is fantastic because the students all have free access to all of the printmaking facility, all of the art facilities. It's really great, and the teachers are fantastic. But as a graduate student, I felt like I was, and as an older student, felt like I was a little dismissed, you know.
Oh, too bad. Well, that is one thing about Northridge at the time. I mean, it's been a while now.
It doesn't feel like it, but I know it has been.
Well, you finished a few years after I did, because when we did the Judy Chicago project, I had just graduated in 2002 with my BA. So
yeah, I think we graduated at the same time because when we did Judy Chicago, I had just started grad school.
Right.
I had just started my master's.
Oh, so. Okay. We didn't bump into each other before I graduated.
No, no, we didn't.
No, because Northridge, at the time I was going there, I remember seeing a statistic in like the newspaper or something that was Cal State Northridge is 51% non-traditional students.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so when you would start there, that first week of school it started a week before LAUSD started. So that first week of school, there were kids in strollers and little kids going to class with their parents all over campus. Because you could get away with that. You would, because your first class, you go in, they talk about the syllabus, they say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you leave in 20 minutes. So, you can kind of take your kid along. One time, one of my classes, I came out of the class and I was wearing I don't know why was I wearing a sweatshirt in August, but some kind of a shirt, and I had little stickers all over me because my daughter had been sticking stickers on me. So,
That's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what Northridge was like, and so that's great.
I think the instructors at Northridge appreciated me also. You know, I mean, I don't know. It just, I made great friends at Cal State Northridge, and my teachers were fantastic. I just had such a great experience,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
Judy, what do you want to
Yes.
do? Shall we look at work?
Ask Marsha.
Yes.
In the course of, let's say, your master's work, did you have a concentration? What, you know, what were your interests? Obviously, I mean, I think I see a lot of printmaking in what you do. Is that your field? Is that your chosen medium? What do you like to work with?
I like to work in all kinds of media, actually. So when I was at Cal State Northridge as an undergrad, I was doing painting. And then a printmaking teacher came up to me and looked at some of my paintings, and she said, I think you're a printmaker. I think you're a painter who really should be a printmaker. And I went, what? I said, I don't like printmaking because it has too many toxic stuff. And she said, oh, you need to take a class from me because I don't use toxic stuff.
It used to, and that's absolutely true.
Right. And so she taught me a lot about printmaking, and what else was I going to say about that? And so so when I applied to their MA program, I had paintings mostly. And so that's what I submitted. And I got in, and then I started printmaking. So I was taking classes like crazy. I just took, printmaking classes. And then I also took, I was screen printing, beginning to screen print. But amazingly, my instructor I was having a hard time with screen printing because the registration process that she had explained to us wasn't working for me. So I devised different ways of doing registration. Some of them better, some of them not. But and then I had taken also a weaving class from B. Coleman, and she became a real advocate for me. So when I went into the master's program, the summer of the master's program, B asked the head of the department if I could have a key for the summer to get into the textile department. And that's unheard of. It's only for MFA students. And they said yes, and she set me, there was a little office in the back that she gave me. And so I put up all my things there, and I spent the whole summer just printmaking and making all kinds of mistakes and learning from them. And that's all, I did that 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And it was mostly screen printing. I didn't feel comfortable using, other processes, but I really liked screen printing a lot. So then for my show, of course, it was all screen printing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like all kinds of things. One of the reasons that San Francisco was so great, when I went up there to meet some of the professors in the classes, and the person who did my interview for CCA, she was also a bookmaker. And so I brought some of my smaller prints up there, and I told her how I'm really interested in learning how to make books. And putting some of my prints or some into books, but I've never been able to figure out I had lots of books, but reading from instructions is sometimes really difficult for me anyways. So I talked to her about that. I didn't realize she was a bookmaker at the time, but I knew that San Francisco was really big in the book arts.
Mm.
And so, yeah. So anyways, yeah.
Fascinating. I love bookmaking.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It encompasses everything,
Yes,
including stitching, you know. So.
it does. It's all about the binding and oh my gosh, absolutely.
I know.
You're speaking my language. Actually, right behind me, over here, an aqua tint I did.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can see it.
Yeah, well, it's a Japanese garden, my interpretation. Anyway, yes, I bow down to printmakers.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, yeah, so that's kind of my story. So when I graduated, you know, I started like, I would teach for free if it meant I could teach. I just started like looking at different programs. I think my first job was with the Museum of Children's Art, and I had to do a free class in order so they could see what I would do, and I was a nervous wreck. And it wasn't printmaking. It was something I'd never done before, so it was even more difficult. So, but they accepted me, and I taught for 3 years there in their summer program. I taught printmaking for kids, and it was a 1-week intensive. So they were there all day. But the woman at the time who ran the program was really a great mentor. She showed me what other artists had done, and then I brought in some things that I wanted to do, and it was all printing without a press. So I got really good at that.
Well, and Judy, you're interested in that kind of thing now, right?
Oh my God, yes. I had said to Marsha right before we went on air that I want to play and dabble in that jelly plate printmaking. I want to not only just print on paper, I want to learn about printing on fabric. And I want to learn. So, you know, that's where I'm in my life. It's like you're just not too. Yeah, you're pointing to Marsha.
Yeah, and you know she's in San Luis now, Judy.
Yeah,
I love
only a couple hours away.
Yeah, it's a 2.5-hour drive. It's not bad at all.
Absolutely love it. And yes, and I want to pick your brain, and I want to see your work. Can you? I know we've had maybe some questions, technical issues about sharing your slides with us, but however you do it, can we see your art?
Yeah. Do you want to see it now?
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Wait a minute. I have to go back. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna do this so I can see it. Okay. So my really strongest thing as far as printmaking has been screen printing. And anyway, so I one of the things I did right out of grad school is I took a summer program with Thomas Wojcik, who was this. I never did any printmaking when I was in grad school at CCA. So I did a lot of other things. But I took a screen printing class from him, which was really helpful. So I learned a lot from him, and he's been a great mentor throughout the years. So that's really my strongest forte as far as teaching goes. So this is Mission Graphica. I managed the studio for 10 years, and prior to that, I was teaching a class. So a lot of times my work is stimulated out of someone asking me for something. So this was part of a print exchange, and the print exchange was called Navigator. And so we were supposed to think about who was our navigator. And at the time, my husband had asked for a divorce, and I was feeling kind of like, where's my home kind of thing. And I've always I have in the past here and there used birds and feathers and nests and that kind of thing periodically, but all of a sudden the idea of the bird being my navigator, because birds are accustomed to moving around a lot. They don't have a permanent home per se. So, so I was really happy with this print. And then I proceeded to make some more that were kind of in the same genre of.
Can you print?
Advance
Yeah.
the slide.
These are screen prints, yeah.
Can you
know, but let's see them. Let's show us that first one. Advance.
Oh, here?
or click on it?
Click,
I don't know.
If I click on this here, we should be able to see it.
What? Wait a minute. What do you want me to do again?
Advance the slide to the next slide, because we're still seeing the screen print frames. We're still seeing the first slide.
You are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, wait. Okay, so I need to hit.
Just double click screen 2. See if that works manually. Go over to that.
Do it in the PowerPoint window. You can't do it in the StreamYard window.
Wait.
This is the story of our lives. We all struggle with this.
I should say one more thing about school. When I went back to school, I had not ever had a computer. And then my husband gave me my son's high school PC for my computer. And the first class I took at Cal State Northridge was a computer class for artists. So I was completely out of my comfort zone. It was horrible. But the kids helped me out. So they were really kind to me. Okay, so let's see if it works now. Okay. If I go, okay.
Just click on slide 2. There you go.
Okay. So so this was the print exchange that I was invited to. And
all right, I have questions.
Yes.
What is the background? Did you print on a textured or patterned paper? Is that where that background comes?
Those are just patterns that either I draw them out or I scan them into my computer, that I find. So I do a lot with patterns because I've always been, from a very young age, interested in quilt making. So I did that when I was in my teens. So patterns for me seem to hold things together. They're, I can't explain it actually, what pattern.
So, Marsha, is this what we're looking at here, the navigator, is that a silkscreen print?
Yes. Yeah.
So
you're gonna see mostly silkscreen prints.
Okay. Is that 2 or 3 screens?
Yeah.
It's what?
How many screens?
Are you asking me? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Whoa.
So
maybe 5.
So the background, the pattern background, that in itself is a screen.
It's 2 screens.
Okay.
So it's a solid color, and then the pattern on top of it.
All right, and then
color.
Cool.
And then I would take it. You printed like that white, and then that off-white color, and the black is your final color.
Yes. Oh, and then the turquoise earrings too. That was one.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Yes, I
did. You did a screen for the turquoise earrings.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Now that I think about it. Oh yeah, I may have, and I'll tell you why. Because when I'm setting up my screens, a lot of times I can put 2 colors on one screen. So so I may have. I can't remember, but it looks
when you printed these, your screen print process, did you, what kind of, what was your like, what is it, Rubylith, or how did you impose, how did you get your image? I'm talking way back.
Yeah,
how did you get your image onto the screen? What process? What did you do?
So I had the film printed out, a film positive printed out, which is the same as
negative.
Well, it's a similar thing with Rubylith, except for you hand cut everything. So I was doing everything on the computer. So by now, I got my computer skills pretty much under my belt for the most part. So yeah, so I figure out my color separations. I make them into black and white. You know, I do it first in color on the computer, then I make them black and white, and I send them off to a printer who sends me back the film positives. So I do everything digitally. And yeah.
Well, you didn't burn your screens or anything like that.
Oh no, I did that too. So once I get the digital film back, then I use emulsion. I put emulsion on the screens, and then I expose them to light on a light table and burn the screens that way. Yeah, everything else is the same.
Can we see the next slide? Yeah. So that was one of the things with B giving you that back room, because there was the light table for burning the screens. She had the emulsion. She had the screen frames. She had the big screen printing tables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because this is something that it's very difficult to do on your dining room table.
You can't.
I wouldn't even do it in my house. I mean, I have artists at Mission Graphica who would come and burn their screens and then print in their house, and I'm like, how the heck do you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you clean up?
It's got to be right, because the sinks in the screen printing room are these huge sinks that you could walk a horse in. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a very messy process. So Mission Graphica has a beautiful studio, and it's a big facility. So we have a lot of space. We can handle a lot of artists printing at the same time.
Can we see the next slide?
Yeah. So I liked doing this so well that I did like a series of prints that had to do with me and my navigator. And in this one, you know, I'm carrying around the nest, you know, so, and providing the home for the bird. And then this was the last one I did, where I'm actually, you know, giving him a place to rest. So it's my close association with birds, you know, and it's not like I have birds. It's just, I love birds, and I love what they represent. You know, the idea of making a nest every time, you know, traveling, that kind of thing. And I felt like I kind of felt related to that, you know, because of my situation. So,
Marsha, I like in this one, you and the bird are seeing eye to eye.
Yes, we are. I should have you name my prints. Oh my God, that's perfect. Okay, so just to change things a little bit, this is my next print. So I do all of my paintings at Cal State Northridge were self-portraits with me and my ex-husband, or my husband, and so I always continued that idea of self-portraiture. I kind of like it because it's funny. I always thought it was just funny. So anyways, I've done myself as Rosie the Riveter 3 different times, and this was the last time, and it's probably my favorite. But this was done for the Nasty Woman exhibition, and it was a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood, in which I donated my print, and it was when Trump was going to defund Planned Parenthood, and so there was this big, you know, uproar about it, and so I participated in this, and yeah, in this exhibition. I know, I love it too. And it sold, which was really great.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so going on with those self-portraits, one of the things that happened after my husband and I separated was that I started dating online, which is really weird. So I have more about that too. Anyways, so I did this this portrait, self-portrait, whatever. Anyway.
Geez, Marsha, these are so fantastic. And every time I'm looking at all of them, I'm thinking of the master's use of the computer.
Oh, yeah.
The way in which you have taken it as it's a tool.
It is just like a drawing, just like a pen.
I know, but you're fabulous with it. I mean, I'm loving it. I am in such awe. I really, and I, you know what I also love your graphic approach. You know, you have a great graphic sense. I just adore it.
Well, screen printing is very graphic, you know, so
yes.
it kind of fits into my sensibility, you know. But yeah, so
and I love your color palette. I love your color. Oh, look at this one.
So this one was stimulated by a comment that another artist in residence said to me. She said, you know, that Mission Graphica is the name of the studio at the Mission Cultural Center. And she said, Graphica needs a print god. And I said, a print god? What about a print goddess? And she said, yeah, we need a print goddess here. And so that immediately made me think of myself. I'm not a goddess, but.
Well, why not? Why not? You can self-promote.
So
we're seeing the evidence right here.
So working in a Latino community, working with the Latino community and a lot of Latino artists, I thought, I'm going to make myself the Virgin of Guadalupe because I think she's a goddess. And so, but I designed it, but I didn't print it for a long time because I was really afraid it would really offend some very religious people, Catholics. But then one day it was on my computer for some reason, and one of the Latino artists came by and he said, oh my God, that's hysterical. And I said, really? You really think so? And he goes, yeah. I said, I'm afraid to print it. He goes, no, do it. It's great. So I do have little stars of David on the coat or on her headpiece. So,
oh, yes.
Right.
Then I'm holding a squeegee.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Oh, look at the squeegee.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, so I'll show you some other prints I did for them. This was a print I did for Solo Mujeres, and the name of the exhibition, we do Solo Mujeres every year. It's a way of promoting women in the arts, which, you know, when they started that, it's still not good enough as far as I'm concerned. But when they started the center 40 some odd years ago, you know, there was not a lot of women in the arts, and it's still, you know, I still think it's not enough. But anyway, so I was in Solo Mujeres. I did exhibit with them before I got hired as a manager. When I was just the instructor, I was invited to, it was an invitational when I did it. And so the person who was running the gallery invited me. So,
size print, Marsha, what's the scale?
Scale.
Are they 12 by 8? Oh, they're big.
They're bigger. I think it's 24 inches high. I think it's what it is.
Oh.
So
18 by 24?
Yeah, it might be 18 by 24.
Okay. But it's just because when you see them on the screen, you don't really get a sense. They could be 8 by 10, but they're not.
Okay. I'll tell you when they're little.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
So, yeah. So anyway, so I did this print for them for Solo Mujeres. And although you can't see it, I did about 13 colors on this print.
Wow.
That's a lot.
In the
That's a lot.
roses and in the leaves, there's several different colors. So yeah, but it was fun, and yeah.
Right.
This one,
Oh, these are wonderful. This is wonderful.
this is the daughter of an artist that has worked in Mission Graphica for about 20 years. And he showed me this photograph, and I think his wife posted it on Facebook. And I asked her if I could make a print of her, and I did. And of course, frequently I incorporate stitching into my prints. So that's what I did with this one.
Oh, I was thinking these were the paper cutout things.
What's that? I did, yes.
Those are those paper cutouts.
What do you mean paper? Oh, it's
the Mexican paper.
Paper picado is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, but the black there is thread.
Well, you see the thread around her and around the edges.
Oh,
maybe you can't see it. I can see it on my screen. But and I'll tell you what happened. What I did the background first. I did the background, and I didn't like the way, I forgot what it was that I did some of these, and I finished them. I finished them with the girl, and but I didn't like it because I felt like there was not enough room. The white on the outside. I forgot what it was that I did. So the print turned out great. He liked it. And I said, no, I'm going to redo it again, which is something I do too. So I cut out all the girl. I cut out her, and then I stitched her on a new one.
Oh.
And so
this is
the second. Yeah.
So there's stitching here.
Yeah, there's stitching on this one.
And they're stitching here. Is this stitching?
Are you touching? Oh, I can't see because I'm looking at
okay.
All right. Yeah, there's stitching around the edges. Yes.
Of the girl and around the yellow around the background.
Right.
Cool. Got it.
So I did one for him, one for me, and that was it, because I wasn't gonna, it was so hard because it's a big print, and so it was very difficult to stitch. So anyway, so let's see. And then I did a series of prints on my family. This is my grandmother and grandfather. Usually I do prints about my immediate family, like my kids and stuff. I'm not going to show you those. And my granddaughter, that kind of thing. But I really like this one because the background, it just turned out so beautiful. And so going back to dating,
I love this one.
It's a very small print because it was for an exchange that I was in. I did a series of exchanges with a group from South America, Central America, and so I can't remember the name of the exchange, but I did it every year for a long time. And this is when I was dating online, so I frequently felt like I was just this.
So is this a computer print, or is this a silkscreen print still?
This is a silkscreen still. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, it had to do with dating, and because dating online, you have all those numbers and stuff. They do all these, I forgot what it's called, but anyways, the way they match you up, it's really nice. And when
algorithms.
Yeah, so those are all the algorithms.
Oh my God.
But I had a great time with it in one respect, is that when I did workshops, all of my workshops seemed to always have women. I don't think I can't remember very many workshops that I had men in. So I would talk about, somehow it would come up, I'd talk about dating online, and we would have a blast talking about it because I have some very funny stories. I'm not going to tell them now.
Oh,
Okay.
Anyways.
yeah.
I'm gonna Zoom you, Marsha, for those.
Okay. This was, whoops. Are we?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, for several years, I did a print exchange that was called Leftovers.
Oh, what a great name!
Yeah, a studio in Idaho. I don't know how I got the invitation, but it was like an open call. And so I started doing them every year. So it was a fundraiser for their People's Kitchen, I believe.
Oh,
yeah. So Leftovers. So I did a series of those, which was really fun. And this was my first one. And you can see it's a very small print, and there's a quarter off to the side. You can see the size.
Oh, yes.
it's really
Tiny.
small.
Yeah, so that was the box if you made it.
That's cool.
Yeah. Excuse me. So then, so I did another print for them for Leftovers, and it was the donut with the bite taken out of it. And and it was, again, a very small print. And I liked it so much that I did a series of donuts, and there's actually 10. I tried to make 12, but I did this for a whole year. I worked on these donuts. So most of those, or a lot of those donuts, have a lot of layers. So,
yes, they do.
Huh?
I said, yes, they do. You can see it.
Well, especially the ones with the little color things. But yeah, so my idea was that I would do 12 of them, and then I would have a show in a donut shop, and we would serve donuts and red wine for the reception. But I couldn't do it. I only got to 10, and then after I did it for a year, I worked on these. Yeah. And then I burned out. I didn't want to do any more donuts.
Well, you know what? I want to ask you, what is your studio setup now? What kind of studio do you have at home, and where are you printing now?
I'm not printing. Well, let me step back. I'm not screen printing right now because I don't have everything. And but I have a garage, so eventually I'm hoping to set up a studio in my garage. I do have I do other kinds of printing, but not screen printing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell us. Judy should ask about that because I don't know anything about it. So.
Yeah. Well, all right, Marsha, do you want to either keep going, or do you want to tell us what kinds of printing are you into now?
Let's keep going, and then maybe you'll see. Okay. Okay. So with COVID, this is one of my sketchbooks. So I make my own sketchbooks, and they're very, very involved. And sometimes I work on them for months at a time, and then I put them aside. But these are pieces of just cuts of that were end cuts from things that I had cut off, and of patterns and stuff.
Wow.
So, but while I was at Mission Graphica, I encouraged my students strongly not to throw paper away in the trash can. So we would we were using newsprint for testing. For testing or cleaning our screens or whatever. And I would make them put them on the drying racks so we could reuse them again. So I had started doing that early on, and then I realized that my students should be doing that because they were just throwing away really good paper. Right. They reuse, and if it's just for testing, it doesn't matter, or cleaning your screen or getting the ink out, whatever, So, yeah. So And in the meantime, I was also collecting paper that people were throwing away. So printmaking paper of prints that didn't work, you know, or there were a lot of abandoned paper and partially made prints when I got there. So if people didn't take their prints, then they were throwing them out, and I decided I'm going to keep them. So I would paint on top of them. I'd print on top of them a bunch. I'd just obscure whatever the image is, and then I'd move on, you know. So I kept keeping these. So I have flat files full of paper that is, some of it's printed on, some of it's not. And so for COVID, when I got stuck in the house and they closed the center and stuff, I had so much stuff, materials that I could use. And so I started this whole thing, you know, I'm just going to use what I have in the studio. So I did collages in my books. I did collages on paper. I did all kinds of stuff. So, and I was in 4 shows during COVID. I mean, I had so much work, you know. So, so that was pretty exciting. So waste not, want not is my mantra. The other thing too is, so this is a scarf that I made out of old jeans that I was getting ready to throw out because I had lost some weight and I couldn't wear them anymore, but they were in really good shape. And I thought, oh, I wasn't going to throw them out. I was going to give them to Goodwill. But I love denim. I really love denim. Mm-hmm. And so I my friend and I signed up for a Boro stitching, Japanese Boro class with Jody Alexander. And I don't know if you know who she is, but you should definitely look her up. Oh, okay. She's an amazing bookmaker. She has she makes all her own clothes. I mean, she's just an amazing artist. And I met her a long time ago at Center for the Art when I used to teach there, San Francisco Center for the Art. And we'd cross paths because we'd be teaching workshops in different rooms and that kind of thing. So I took this class, right? It was a 3-day class. And as you can see, it's machine stitched. And that was because, first of all, I have arthritis in my hands. And doing that stitching was really, really hard on me. Yeah. And second of all, I was stitching on denim.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I learned all the different stitches that she was teaching. And then this is what happens. I'll take a class and then I'll go into another, I'll apply it for something else. So the Boro stitching was fun. But then what I did was I took one of the Boro stitches, which is designed to stitch like a tear. Okay, so this accordion book was the stitching that attaches them is a Boro stitch that's used on a tear, like a slice, and you're stitching it together. So I went home and I finished the scarf, and then I was thinking, God, there's got to be something I can do with this. And so, so this is what I did. So these cards, this was a gift to my son. We went to Germany together, and in one of the museums, they had this interactive thing, and it was A, B, and C. So there were rows of cards, and you'd take A, B, and C and put them together, and it was different artists, but they would connect. So I took all of them because anytime I can find a bunch of things that are the same size, I think book, right? So yeah, I had these and I thought, I'm going to do this, you know, and I Boro stitched them together. And I did some collages on some papers. And
that's beautiful. Is that waxed linen thread?
Yeah, those are that's waxed linen thread with the Boro stitch. And then these are collages, pieces of collage that I had left over, and I I made it together so it was a landscape.
It's beautiful.
Mhm.
So, and then this is another Boro one I did.
I think you posted this one online.
Yeah, I think I did.
It's beautiful.
So, bookmaking for me is really great. I'm always using like old materials. So the book pages on the ones on the left, on my left, are actually children's books. So children's board books make really great pages because they're thick and chunky, and I kind of like them thick and chunky. So
You just collage over them?
I just well, you have to sand them down first because
Oh.
they have that shiny material. You can peel it off too,
Oh.
but you need to get rid of the shiny stuff.
Oh, so you're using it just for the material, not for the images of the children's books.
Right, right.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then wait.
Go ahead.
So then the books on the one on the right, then the cover is of that children's book material.
No, actually the cover was just a cover. It was a piece of a cover that had been cut up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like a book cover. It looks like that fabric that's on book covers.
Yeah, it is. It's an old book that was
And these pages, did you draw these patterns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's fabulous. It's
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So during COVID, I was like, what can I do next? So I was going through, I had a place downstairs in the garage where I kept things that I just didn't complete. And so this was a book that I had started but never completed. And I felt like it was time to do it now. I had nothing else to do but do art. So I have a couple of other images of it. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a woman's face inside that on the next book over. You can see her face kind of peeking out of the hole.
Oh, it looks like this is a washer or something.
It looks like what?
It looks like a big washer.
It is, yeah. So I collect rusty things, and then I put them into my books.
That's
I mean,
perfectly valid to me.
I know. I love rusty stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. So then I finished this book, and so these are some of the pages. I frequently use clocks in my work too, although it hasn't come up. I did at Cal State Northridge more, but the idea of time flies, birds and time flying and, so, and bones and stuff like that.
It's fabulous.
It is. It's wonderful. Thoroughly.
I love that.
So this is kind of a overall. So I started doing. So I was taking it's not a workshop. I guess it was a workshop. So I was taking a workshop from this artist, collage artist, and so she was showing us a lot of images, and she talked about we did a section on like the body, and she showed us some images, and I thought, oh my God, I have all these old pieces of books that I've kept over the years that have all these body parts in it. And so I immediately did this one, and I call it, I hate my thighs, because all my life growing up, I hated my thighs, and now it freaking doesn't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And she's so messed up. She's so messed up in other areas. Her thighs are not her problem.
Yeah.
No.
So that was like me. That was it was really fun. And basically I used only the pieces that I had at the house. So So I was limited in what I could use, which is sometimes is a very good thing.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Right. And then I did this one, and this one's called Working Her Hands to the Bone. So her head is this, hand, and it's mostly women with children, which is kind of, I know it's changed no, it hasn't changed for my daughter-in-law so much, but it's changed for many. Husbands are more involved. My son is involved with his kids, but this is what I think about women's work. I mean, they work so hard, and
it's still overwhelmingly women do the housekeeping and childcare
work.
tasks much more than men.
One of the reasons I moved back down here to San Luis Obispo, I'm only 5 houses down from my son and my daughter-in-law and my grandkids, right? So it's great. But my daughter-in-law, she's from Guatemala, and she finally got into Cal Poly. And so she's taking classes, and I wanted to support that. So I offered to take, my grandson is going to be 4, March 1st. So I said, listen, when I come down there, I'm gonna watch him for you so you can take classes. Because what she's been doing is she takes the class online. Of course, everything's online at Cal Poly, and he sits next to her. But I don't know how she does it, because I couldn't do that. It'd be too hard. But
I wouldn't have been able to do that. It was hard enough just trying to get my homework done with my children in the house.
I don't know how she does it. I swear to God, before I came down here. So anyway, so that was that one. So now I'm moving into more collages. So one of the things that happened, this is like typical on my table, you can see a sketchbook, and I'm trying to use all the little pieces that I didn't put in a collage into my sketchbook. But so anyways, I call these COVID collages because I did them all during COVID. So I had a lyrical. What's that?
I said they're lyrical. They're so much fun.
It was really fun doing them too. So usually I put something in the middle of the page, and then I work around it.
Build out.
I don't have any preconceived idea about what it's going to be. I just start out at one point and then work out and hope that it fits the right way.
Yeah, I love this.
So I was really happy with these. And then the papers I've used, well, some of these papers are from letter, what do you call those, envelopes that have
the insides of the envelopes, they have the printing on the inside.
Right. So I saved those, but I also, you can see the little circles and stuff. Those are from screen prints that I printed on top of. So, I'm always using like recycled material. When I designed this particular one, I designed it so that the tail was down and the head was, if you rotate it, that's how I saw it, or that's how I made it. And then when I did a bunch of these, I had my friend come over and I said, okay, this way or that way? And she said, oh, that way. It looks like a horse. And I went, oh my God, it does.
Yeah.
So I kept it that way.
Right.
Anyway, so
these are fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know where oh, there it is. Okay. So these are actually larger. They're probably about, well, they couldn't have been that large because I haven't used big paper. Maybe 18 by 24.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. And yeah.
Wow.
I love the colors. Oh my God.
So then what happened was someone came to visit me. I know. So Oh, the quilt. Oh, I should tell you that one of the high points of being at CCA is meeting the ladies from the G's Ben quilt.
Really?
Wow.
It was so freaking amazing.
Oh my God.
They were
Free.
doing, they were doing prints. I can't remember the press. It's in Oakland, Paulson Press, I think. They were doing prints that related to their quilts, right, at the time. And so the teacher, my teacher invited them to come talk to the class. And I can't even remember what the class was. But all I could think of was it was not very diverse at CCA. And here were these young white women just hanging on every word of these women who are not educated, but do this beautiful, beautiful work, you know? And I was just so happy to see them. And I got to give them a hug. I mean, it was so great. It was so great for them to hear about them talking about their work. And again, you know, quilts have always been part of my life. I have them in my beds, and you know, I made them. And anyway, so I had a visiting artist come, or a visiting gallerist come, ask me about my work. And so I did a series of collages on panels. So that this and this was probably 12 by 12. So the panels went from 8 by 8, 10 by 10, and 12 by 12. So I did a series of those for that show. And so these are some of them. And it was really fun to do. And you can see there's some stitching in there. That was because there was stitching. I stitched on the big print and just used what I had, you know. So.
Wow. It's fantastic. And
gosh, if I want to feel good, I should just show all my work to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man.
And,
I love these. And these are all collages?
Yes, they're collages. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, this is and there's some hand printing in here. You know, some ticks. You know, I did that by hand.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they're all collages from recycled paper and print paper and stuff like that.
Well, you've been posting these on social media this past year, and I've seen some of these.
Yeah.
What size are these again, Marsha? Are these the 8 by 8 or the 10 by 10s?
No. So I also did the 50/50 exhibition at the Sanchez Art Center. And what it is these last two, I think we're on, the last two, that the one before, they are on 6 by 6. So the artists were challenged to do 50, whatever they wanted to do, and it had to be 6 by 6 in 50 days.
Wow.
So it sounds like the first time I did it, my roommate said, well, you're always making stuff. You're always working. That's going to be so easy for you.
Oh.
It was not easy at all.
It's not.
And so anyways, so then during COVID, they did it again. And I thought, okay, I got it down. I've got it nailed now because I can't go anywhere. I'm not working. So surely I can do 50 collages in 50 days. And I did.
Huh.
So, yeah. So anyway, so that's what these are from. So these are very small. Yeah.
So nice.
So, but the best thing that ever happened to me really was working as a teacher. I really love teaching. And So this is the studio. We're going back to Mission Graphica, one of the students that's learning how to teach. What's really fun about this is that these students, they did some hand printing, but really they were working on the presses. And so this girl she's 10 years old, and I took a picture of her. This is some work that the students did. They made a coloring book.
Oh.
And so, yeah. So we printed them all at once too, because having them on one sheet of paper was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so great to see. And I used to frame them in the studio.
Oh.
So this is the work that they did.
What a great project.
It was really a great project. It required a lot of carving. It took a long time for those kids to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it like linoleum blocks?
Let's see, I'm not sure. Well, I don't use linoleum at all. When I started teaching kids, someone told me about another material that cuts a lot easier. And
the Speedball Easy Cut?
No, now they don't carry it anymore where I used to order it, but Dick Blick has it. I think it's called Dick Blick Blue. Easy Cut Blue. It's the same size as linoleum. It's the same width, and it cuts like butter.
Oh.
And it holds. You can cut very detailed things.
So it holds an edge.
Oh yeah, yeah. I used to teach a class where we printed on a credit card machine. So the linoleum that we did was about the size of a credit card. So
the old credit card sliders. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
It wasn't my idea. It was my professor's idea. Oh, I can't remember right now. At Cal State Northridge. Anyways, so I started teaching it to adults, and people loved doing it. But the thing was, I did use this Dick Blick Blue. At the time, what I purchased was a turquoise, but it's a plastic material and it cuts beautifully. And I never would use anything else, now. But so anyways, this was a group that I worked with. So we worked with a lot of outside groups that came in. This is a group of developmentally disabled kids, high school kids, and they had a blast. It was so much fun. And they were so much fun to work with. This was a group from the Chinese American something or other. I can't remember what, but they were really fantastic. I mean, all of my students are really fantastic that I've worked with. It's been really fun. And then we got some money together. I had a series of print sales from our collection of prints, and I managed to get enough money to start a senior printmaking class. And it was a 12-week program, and it was free. I mean, there was a materials fee, but it was basically free. And so that was really great, because for the first time in my life, I was around people my own age. Oh, so it was really great. And they had a blast. Sometimes I taught them screen printing. We did a whole screen printing thing. And other times we did other kinds of printing. This guy, John, his name is John, and he actually could draw. I mean, he was a fabulous artist. And he had retired. I think he was a designer. He did something in New York. But anyway, so he was retired, teaching Kwando stuff. He's really into that. But I love this print of him, his self-portrait.
It's a great self-portrait.
It is. He's really not that. He is actually, I take that back. he is kind of a grumpy person.
Oh.
He's English. And so the first time I hugged him, he got really stiff. I just do that, right? He goes, nobody ever does that. I'm like, sorry, I didn't know that.
You invaded his personal space.
Yeah, he appreciated it though, but he's like, no one ever hugs me. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get into your space, but he was cool about it. We've remained friends. And he came back and printed many times. Yeah, so this was really fun. There's another guy back there, way in the back there. He's got long gray hair pulled back. He has an amazing story. His parents never wanted him to go to art school. He liked to draw and stuff, but so he's probably, I think he's younger than I am. So he did, I forgot what he did for a living. And so when I first saw his drawings, I was like, and he does a lot of cartoony stuff, and it's really funny. Like, you didn't take drawing classes at some point? He goes, no, my parents didn't think that, that was a good thing. I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I said, your work is absolutely fantastic and it's sellable. That's because it's so funny. And so, so he worked with me every time we had a senior print class. I'm hoping if we open the studio again in the summer that I can do that again. I did our planning for the whole year, and although I'm not the manager and I'm sure things will change, I'm still doing online teaching for them, and I'd love to teach this again. So it was like 12 consecutive Saturdays, and it was a blast. It really was.
Yeah.
And then the last two things. This is my son who lives in Washington, D.C. right now, and when I went to visit him, I walked in his apartment, and I nearly died because he had done this gallery thing of all of my prints and a couple of prints I've given him too from other people. But I was like I almost started crying. It was so cool. So, and then I sit down on the couch, and there was a book that I had done for him about the Tooth Fairy. And it was an interaction I had with him when he was 5, and I made it into a story. And he had it on, sitting there on the coffee table. So that was really
great.
And then lastly, this is the last one. And my other son has work all over the place too. My granddaughter would come and visit me. This is when she was 6. So she still probably wasn't sleeping at my house until she was 7. But my daughter-in-law brought her up, and she would spend the day with me or the week with me in the studio. And I taught her how to carve linoleum when she was 6. And we inked it up and printed it by hand. So this was her first print class. And then every year until COVID, she would come up for a week, and there was, another thing I would teach her about printmaking. So, yeah. So
how old is she now?
She's going to be 16.
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
She's at least 10 by now.
She's 16. She has a 4-year-old brother. There was a big span between the two of them. Yeah. So that's my story.
Wow.
Marsha,
So
it was wonderful.
I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Go.
I'm going to say, just seeing your work has inspired me because I've been in a little bit of a funk So seeing your pieces today has really lifted my spirits tremendously.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't tell you what a joy it's been to see your work and to meet you. Wow.
My God.
No.
Can I play this for my son?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can tune in and see this. Absolutely. It'll be on the internet.
Yeah, I sent you the YouTube link, didn't I? Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. It should be in the same email.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, that's great.
No, but I'm serious. I mean, in all seriousness, I just love your approach to shape, color, texture. I love your compositions. I love the abstractions. I love the collage elements. Those are all things that I relate to. That's, that mixed media, as it's often called, really is something that speaks to me. So to see your work, and it's encouraging for me to like get back in the game, get my head back into, making some art. And I really needed that. So thank you. You didn't know it, but I needed it. Thank you.
It's so funny because the one thing I miss about I miss about not having face-to-face classes is that what I do is I bring all of my stuff so people can experiment, and I can't do that,
Right.
So people have to find their own stuff, but it still works. I really miss the face-to-face.
Well, and what are you teaching online? What's the subject of the classes? Because
I'm teaching a class on Saturday, and it's surface design with everyday stuff.
Oh, right.
And so that's the next one. I'm teaching classes.
And how do we find out about this?
Oh, okay. So that's at the Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts. If you go if you click under classes, there's information on how to sign up.
What's the website? Do you know the website?
missionculturalcenter.org.
Yeah, because we may have people like myself who would like to go there and sign up.
Okay. A lot of my classes, I've taught some, the last class I taught there was a zine class. You know what a zine is, right?
Yes.
So it was a free class because we did it for Corazon de Barrio. So it was free, right? So, and I thought it was going to be kids because I'm always doing, when I did it in the idea that it was going to be a kids class. It was all adults.
Oh,
how cool.
And one lady from Italy.
Judy, you've done zines with students in the past, didn't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolute fun. I was going to ask, like, do you like incorporate rubber stamps or any imagery like that? Everything. Yeah. Oh,
I've done rubber stamps. I've done collage. I've done all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you're speaking directly to Judy's heart right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wished you lived next door. Well, in COVID,
I have one art friend who was so excited that I had two, but one we met at before I went to CSUN. We really good. She's a printmaker, so when I sent her a message that I was coming back down, she was so excited. So, but we haven't been able to see each other because I just had my second shot, so pretty good. But
Marsha, since we have each had a second shot, we in theory could, with a mask, be in the same room together.
Yes, we could.
Oh.
When did you get your shot?
Hmm.
When did you get your?
Last Friday. I still have a week until I go to full immunity.
Right. So I had mine on Tuesday.
Oh, all right. So you have a little bit longer to go. But
Yeah.
we possibly could meet.
We could.
Meet.
Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I was so nervous.
Oh,
You're
no.
so welcome. Thank you.
Yes.
It's so great having you.
Fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. I
Okay.
want her back again already.
Yeah. Well, you know, when we can do in-person things, maybe a studio visit to Marsha in San Luis.
Obispo.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
When we can start going around again, we'll have to start talking about new possibilities. What?
You and I, we could do a collab on something.
Yes.
A collab, you know?
Yes. That would be fun.
Okay.
I would love that.
Let's say goodbye and end the broadcast.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So goodbye, everybody. We will see you next time.
Right. So long.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.